All I'm thinking about in my head right now is him coming on campus and thinking to himself, do you hear the accent on that guy? What the hell is he saying? And then our guys in our locker room are like, what the hell is this guy saying? What's
That's
he
why I
talking about?
said
That's
he
incredible.
sits down at breakfast for the first time with somebody from Belgrade.
I thought our middle linebacker when I got to Miami was mentally retarded because I couldn't understand a word he was saying, and I thought that they had special needs kids at our school, to be perfectly honest. Swear to God on my life. What's happening, everybody? We're going here with another episode of OTH, that's Out the Huddle. Back in the game here with DJ Williams and the University of Miami's Australian sensational punter, Lou Hedley. I know we're rocking the Lou Hedley, the Deadly Hedley. I don't know if these are going to be limited editions by Dime Life or what are we doing here?
We got to work that out NIL related. We'll dabble into that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to dabble into the NIL stuff and how horribly ruled that thing is. Everybody in the world and their mother and their brother can make some dough. But poor Lou Hedley over here, he can't do shit. He can't make nothing right now, man. We'll get into that and the reasons why, though. But it's an honor. It really is an honor. And I wanted to do this thing more than any. When DJ came calling and he was like, man, I'm going to sit down with Lou Hedley, I was like, you talking about that tatted kid, man? I was like, yeah, you better believe it. Aside from the fact that you're probably the same age as me and I got, a wife and 3 kids, I think that this would be a really cool sit down because I've never, and obviously I don't think a lot of other people either have got to know, number one, an Australian, number 2, a collegiate punter of your stature. Very, very, very award-worthy. I think was 2020. You came in 2nd place ultimately for the Guy Award, yes. Ray Guy Award, which obviously you deserved and owned the hell out of that thing. You don't look like the normal collegiate punter, that's for sure. I imagine some of that is due to the fact that you're coming all the way from across the pond too. So a really cool historic story behind you and a very mysterious one, to be honest with you. I'm learning things as we're having conversations off camera that are utterly incredible. Like most people have only seen Bali from a book or a movie or a film. And hell, I used to go there on vacation on the weekends sometimes to go get some work in, and I think you had a little business tie over there. So if you want to elaborate a little bit more on that and find out what the hell Lou Hedley was doing in Bali, of all places.
Yeah, firstly, I'm very excited to be here and kind of get to explain my story a little bit to the people that don't really know much about me. But yeah, Bali, it's about a 3-hour flight from Perth where I grew up, so it's kind of a, everyone, on the weekend or if you get a week off work or something, everyone kind of flies out there. It's kind of a different world out there. So eventually, I was over there a bit. So me and my best buddy at the time, we got a tattoo shop. We went halves in a shop. Just, we thought we'll try a business.
And how old were you?
Wait. Hold on.
He suddenly just throws things out there
for me, the most amazing thing about you is, right? You're not like the normal collegiate athlete. You've already lived a life before coming here, right? Like you just said, you had a tattoo shop in Bali, and you got to tell where Bali is because, listen, trust me, a lot of our viewers.
Hell, I didn't even know where Bali was.
Ain't gonna have any idea.
I think
I'm trying. Any idea.
So yeah, Bali's in Indonesia. I think I was 21 at the time when I went out on that venture with my buddy to, to give it a crack, and so we went from that. So
were you actually doing the tattoos, or you just kind of the owner?
No, we just put the money in. My buddy's stepdad was a Balinese guy, so he was legally allowed to buy a property over there and kind of run a business. So he kind of organised it all, and we just put a heap of money in a pot and went halves. It was a really fun little project, and eventually, once I found out about college football, I sold my share of it because California junior colleges aren't very cheap. So I kind of put all my money into that basket and decided to give football a crack.
In California junior colleges, so I'm originally from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
How crazy was San Francisco? How crazy?
Yeah.
Listen, how crazy is San Francisco?
Yeah, it was wild. I think, getting recruited to kind of go over there and play. I come from, I was making a healthy living, had a nice house. I was living the life back in Australia, and I thought, I was going to go to San Francisco. I thought I had a little studio apartment ready for me. I was like, oh, that'll be all right. 2 years of study, play some ball. And I get there, and, there's 3 bunk beds in a room. I think there was...
You was in a hostel.
Yeah, there was 13 13 footballers, mostly linemen, and 1 toilet, 3 bathrooms.
Oh, that's disgusting.
So 3 bedrooms.
Oh,
Wait. Was that a dorm?
like an
No,
on-campus
it was
apartment?
just a house, and it was just
Oh, okay.
3 bedroom. There was about 13 of us in there, 1 bathroom. It was horrible.
So how did San Francisco City College? It was City College.
Yeah.
How did you even get in contact with them?
Yeah, so there's an academy in Australia called Pro Kick Australia, and they kind of transition Australian rules football players like myself. They're kind of the anchor company over there that kind of discovered, that
Right.
Australians will do well over here, and they kind of set the path out for you. You know what I mean? At the time, I hadn't graduated high school, so the only option for me then was to go to junior college, get my AA, and then come to a school like this, which it really worked out. So before I got there was like 3 punters that went to the same school, and they got Power 5 offers out of that school. So I thought, that's a good little footpath for me to follow, and it turned out really well.
See, that's one of the things that I'm trying to correlate our stories, is the fact that me being Canadian, going to a whole new land ultimately, and just not aborting your past, but just trying to move on to do something totally different. But you seem like you've done that a few times over with the Bali, and then your life has been led in all different kinds of areas. But that's one of the questions that I had for you was, in Canada, we were always looking to get out because there's no athletic scholarships in Canada at that point in time, so we would have to cross the border and go to the States to play football in America.
Yep.
Is there a dire need for kickers predominantly? Obviously, because we know about rugby, we know about football over there, which is obviously the one with the foot that we call soccer here.
Yep.
Is it one of those things where it's an aspiration to go stateside and play American football? Like, is there a lineup for these kids to punt an American football as opposed to a rugby ball?
Yeah, I think now there definitely is. The organisation I come from, Pro Kick, they've got kids lining up to get into that organisation now. But when I grew up, I didn't know anything about college football. To be honest, when I'd see college games, and I'd think they're like high school games. I'm like, shit, like high school football over in America is like crazy. Like,
100,000 screaming and yelling.
yeah, I didn't really learn much about it and hadn't really seen much. But then as soon as I was 22 when I kind of found out there's the possibility I could come over here and play college ball and get an education. And, as soon as I figured out, the blueprint on how to do it, I kind of, got the ball rolling, and I moved to Melbourne. And with the Academy Pro Kick Australia, and they kind of got me in the right path and sent me to JUCO as soon as possible.
So, I don't know much about Australian style football. What's the biggest difference between Australian style football and American football?
So it's a way bigger field. It's like a giant oval. You have to be, it's kind of just, there's no timeouts, no offsides, just 20-minute quarters that kind of run down, that keep going. So probably about 25 minutes you're out there at a time, 4 quarters. So yeah, it's just, when I was playing, at a semi-pro level, I think I was probably like 190 pounds. Mm-hmm. And you just have to be fit, like soccer fit, you know what I mean? It's just non-stop running. Our pre-season consists of just 3-mile time trials, all this and that. But
positional wise, like what did you play?
I was like a centre-half back.
And what is that?
So it's like a defender. So like your
so
centre-half
he's out
back.
there banging.
So the centre-half back will kind of
Okay.
line up on the centre-half forward, and they're kind of it's like like their main target coming into the to their.
It's like a linebacker.
You know what? I love it because you know why? Like, and you'll find this out when you get to the NFL because that's where you're headed. Kickers, it's hard for the kickers to get respect, right?
Of course it is.
It's hard, but
Oh, you wouldn't have caught me hanging out with a kicker ever. But this cat, this is a different animal. Now. You're dealing with a different human being. No, yeah, you look yoked,
You was
man.
jacked.
Like when you're throwing up to you with the black hat.
Oh, yeah,
photograph.
Was that in Bali? That was the Bali. That was the Bali, Lou.
That was in JUCO, junior college. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What were you guys getting
I'll
into
be eating
over
too
there?
much over in Cali.
Hey, you know how you get that training table?
Yeah,
Well, that was another thing, though, too. Like you said, you managed to be living with a bunch of offensive linemen. Is that who you gravitated towards ultimately when you got stateside? Was the cool, really nice, welcoming and warming offensive lineman? Or
Don't fall into that.
Yeah, no, but actually the coach and kind of my mentor in City College San Francisco, Coach Nuno, he was the offensive lineman coach, and he kind of was in charge of, the I-20s because he's from Mexico himself.
I know the I-20s and I-94, baby.
So he kind of knew.
It's your visa.
Listen, y'all can't listen. Hold on. You look. Let me tell you
I'm
something.
vibing right now.
I get
Canada,
that, but
Australia,
listen.
we're kind of like similar when
Listen,
it comes to
Gino
the way that
from
we live.
America. Okay, Gino from America.
America.
Right? You can't throw out all these slangs and these terms. You gotta
I-20 is like a visa. It's a student visa, or you got your I-94 with a work visa, however
See,
you
I
want to
thought you
look
were
at it.
I-95 because that's where I want to go
No,
to Fort
man.
Lauderdale.
No, and even when I got to the NFL, I would have to renew mine annually, and the team would have to go ahead and sponsor me for every single year that I was in the NFL. They'd have to do all the legalities and paperwork. It costs a lot of money for a team to go ahead and to go through all this stuff. So that whole tie-in with the I-20 and the student visa, which is a pain in the ass when you're traveling too all the time, and then sometimes the school won't renew it because they're not dealing with a lot of international players and that kind of thing. It's a difficult thing, and then now you want to wrap into it with the NIL situation as well, where it's almost unfair. It almost brings you back to the equality of back in the day when we weren't allowed to make any money playing college sports and playing college football. It's almost like you're still stuck in that realm. You're still stuck back in the early 2000s, late 90s of not being able to make money, but you're able to watch other students in student body or current athletes make money on the side by doing NIL deals. I don't know if you want to explain what kind of things that you've heard about it.
You can't make money NIL related.
So I can't legally do it in America. So like the one NIL deal I got, I had to fly back to Australia. Everything had to be done in Australia. And if I post something on my Instagram in regards to that company, like my friend has to log into my Instagram and post it from Australia.
It's remarkable.
So just,
Wait. I'm so confused.
and is the reason for that taxability wise? Is that because Australian government wants their money?
yes, sir. So I gotta pay. I get paid in my Australian account, and then I'll get taxed in Australia.
Oh yeah, you get that
Hold on,
double.
so you can't do a NIL deal stateside, receive the money,
Correct.
and then just go ahead and pay Australia?
Well, you're going to have to double pay. You're going to have to be paying American taxes on it, and you're going to be paying Australian taxes as well on it, and you're left with nothing ultimately.
It blows my mind that these kids are even paying taxes on NIL.
And trust me, the way the government's set up nowadays, with that whole sector of the government, we're leaning towards all of that PPP money that's going back in and all that stuff. They're devoting a lot of mind to try to find some extra money.
I'm excited because if we drop these deadly Hedleys, I mean, we got to go, all the way to Australia.
I think
no, because we're going to go to Australia, we're going to sign the paper.
You want a trip to Australia, that's what you want.
No. I want him to get his NIL deal.
Of course he's going to get his NIL deal.
So we gotta go to
because we're going to set
Australia.
him up with a 501(c) charitable donation where you just got to donate some of your proceeds and make sure that you're taking care of Lou Hedley's kids.
You speak of high
You're taking
science.
care of the deadly Hedleys. You know what I mean?
Science.
No, man, you can figure that out. We'll get that done. Sales proceeds, golf tournaments, kicking camps, meet Deadly Hedley, get a tattoo with Deadly Hedley, or whatever you want to get into, man. Whatever you want to get into. I'm just throwing things out there.
So I remember last year, we were having a conversation, and I wasn't as informed about the NIL situation, and I wanted to offer you NIL, and I thought it was very admirable that you were like, I can't accept the money, but it could be a situation to where I can donate that to charity, or it can go to a charity of my choice.
Yep.
So have you done that before, or is that just kind of an idea that you've been holding in your back pocket?
So as soon as I found out, how difficult it is for me, realistically, I can't fly back to Australia every time, I want to get an NIL deal. It's like 30 hours of flying. So, I figured that, it's perfectly legal to, if a company wants to approach me about a deal or something, I can say, hey, how about, I can't legally make money, but, if you donate, whatever you wanted to offer me to, to a charity of my choice, that way, I'm not making any money, but it's going to a good cause. I figured, that'd be great.
Pay it forward, bro. You'll get it back 10 times over.
Absolutely. Hedley's Heathens. You could have that like in the end zone, all the kids and the parents rocking the Deadly Hedleys, the Hedley Heathens. It could be like on right there on that board that every time TVD gets a touchdown and he throws it, it could go right to the Deadly Hedley right there. And you could put like a bullseye on. Man, we could do so much stuff, bro.
Listen, if you want to set the charitable thing up, I'm down for it, man.
I think it needs to happen. And the fact that this man came over here and was like, I can't accept the money. I'm not going to get myself or you or the university in trouble. I'm going to go ahead and just do it to the charities, man. Just donate whatever I can to the charities. Make my footprint while I'm over here in the United States. Do whatever I can to obviously better myself, my position. It's admirable. It really is admirable. And then clearly, this guy is very, very unique. Extremely unique. Very marketable. I think that it's endless. He's not a prick. Obviously, I was expecting. You want to characterize somebody, you see tattoos, it's, you rewind 50 years, only sailors and prisoners had tattoos, you know what I mean? My Cuban grandmother told me about that. So, nowadays it's a different story, man, and I think you got a lot going for you, obviously. Extremely intelligent, love where you're at, and that was my next question is, I chose from Canada. What made you choose, obviously via San Francisco, but what made you make the decision to come to the University of Miami?
Yeah, so I think I didn't know much about college football at all. You know what I mean? I just tried to jump over here as fast as I could to get the process going. Like I said, I was already 22, so I just wanted to get the ball rolling. So I come over, once I started going to JUCO, you know, everyone kind of introduced me to like the big teams, and I watched college football, you know, on Saturdays and Saturday nights after the game and whatnot. But yeah, I think I remember watching, I think Miami was in, they were in the ACC championship, and I watched that game.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from there I watched, you know, I did a lot of research and seen the history of Miami, and I fell in love with it. And I got in contact with the special teams coordinator and kind of kept that conversation going throughout my redshirt year at junior college. And then you eventually come out and see me kick, and from there I got the offer. They rang me up and said, "Oh, you got, we'll give you some time to think about it." I was like, "No, I don't need any time. Like, if you're a specialist, you get offered from Miami."
But you've like never really been in America, right? You went straight from Australia, went to
Yeah,
San
I
Francisco,
know.
and down to Miami, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're down in Miami, you're down in South Florida, right? You are a little bit older than majority of your teammates. What is that dynamic like? Because I came to at 17, and when I came here, we had Andre King, right?
Grandpa, yeah.
Andre King was 27.
A lot of baseball players that get drafted, they'll try the baseball route out first and then go back to college.
We had Andre King at 27, and then we had James Jackson, who was 26. I was forced. I ended up starting fullback, sharing fullback with Najee Davenport. I'm 18.
Yep.
I'm in the locker room. I'm in a meeting room with James Jackson. I'm 18. He's 26. He seems old as fuck to me.
Yeah.
Right? So go through that dynamic, right? Because, wait. First of all, how old are you?
So I'm 29.
29 years old. This man's old enough to have like grandkids and everything, my brother. Holy smokes.
You at least 30, 40. You at least, you at least 40.
No, I was going to say he's lying. I want to check the first thing before he leaves. I think we're rocking about a 34, 35.
So again, the dynamics. You're 29 years old.
First
right?
of all, living the goddamn dream. If I was
Yes, sir.
29
Yeah,
years
yeah.
old at the University of Miami, doing what I'm, oh my God, no, it's dangerous. I'd give anything to go back,
29 years old, right? You have some individuals that are your peers that are 18. Go into that dynamic. Like, what is that like?
Yeah, I think it's, if you're at a university like, Miami, I think you got to grow up pretty quick. I think being in an organization like this, after your freshman year, you start to grow up pretty quick. And I think, obviously when I first got here, I was kind of friends with like the seniors and the juniors. But it really helped that I went to junior college. I think I went to junior college when I was like 22, turning 23. So I kind of learned how to deal with, a lot of younger guys, over in Cali. So when I come to Miami, it was actually really good that I'd been at, in a program for 2 years previous to coming here. But I think it's, I love all the boys there. They are, like I said, the juniors, seniors, most of them are, just as mature as me. So it's good being around them. And for the young dudes, if they ever need to talk to me about advice, about life, I always, I'm someone to talk to for them.
I can only imagine right now, your first day here, you having a conversation with somebody from Belglades. Because
Nobody's understanding none of you. Not a
listen,
goddamn
so
word.
I'm originally from California.
Yeah.
And again, United States, I came to University of Miami, it was a culture shock. Like, what I thought Miami was going to be was nowhere near it, right? So culturally, what has been the most shocking thing to you with the culture coming down here at the University of Miami? Because people say, first of all, Miami's not Florida. I don't even think Miami's the United States.
No, it's its own
Miami's
world.
Miami.
It's its own world.
Yeah.
Like, what has been the biggest shock for you?
I definitely think it feels like Florida, Miami, kind of a country of its own. But I kind of fell in love with like the diversity here, the different cultures, different nationalities. It's kind of a perfect fit for me. Come from Australia, there's not any type of stereotype here. It's just everyone's from everywhere, and it's just a great city to learn and kind of flourish in, and exploring the city, going out, meeting people, and the fans have been great. So I think it really was just a perfect fit for me.
All I'm thinking about in my head right now is him coming on campus and thinking to himself, do you hear the accent on that guy? What the hell is he saying? And then our guys in our locker room are like, The hell is this guy saying? What's
That's
he
what I
talking about?
said.
That's
he
incredible.
sits down at breakfast for the first time with somebody from Belgrade.
I thought our middle linebacker when I got to Miami was mentally retarded because I couldn't understand a word he was saying, and I thought that they had special needs kids at our school, to be perfectly honest. Swear to God on my life.
Listen. In California, or at least where I'm from in California, we didn't use the word bet.
Oh, and not bet, but bet that up. If you
So,
want it,
hold on.
bet that up,
So,
bet that up, bet that up.
I mean, I would give somebody a ride. They'd get out of the car. They'd be like, all right, bet.
All right, bet.
And
Bet
I
what?
just remember having conversations with my boys like, hey, man, they some big-time gamblers. I don't know, they some big-time
Yeah.
gamblers. And then,
Challenging me.
what about the situation, like, have you heard, do you know your old girl and your old lady?
Yeah, I think-
That is, to me, that is the most mind-blowing Florida slang that has ever
Yeah.
existed.
Old girl is obviously.
Wait, hold on. Do you know who your old girl is and who your old lady is?
I think old girl is your mum, right?
Correct.
And then your old lady,
Is your missus, yeah.
but your
girlfriend.
mom
Mrs.
is, but your
Oh,
mom
I
is a
love that.
lady and your girl is your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
I love, but he's adapted very, very well. Well, he's been here 16
adapted.
years. You're like a 17. How many years senior are you now? Like, how does this work now in college football? Because the COVID years,
It's a super
they
senior.
gave you like an extra
It's a super
year that doesn't
no.
count towards anything.
He got the COVID year off,
Uh-huh.
and then the market crash year off,
Right.
inflation year.
He won the Australian lottery, so that gave him an extra 2 years. Do you realize that this man started working in mines? I had the conversation with him earlier before we got on here, and I was like, what part of Australia are you from? He's like, oh, Perth. And I was just like, oh, I do. You like my accent? And I was like, yeah, I did a little business out of Perth. I was getting mining tires, loading them on containers, open containers on either side of either Queens or Perth, and you send them over here to the United States. And he was like, oh, I know. I worked in the mining thing. And I was like, holy smokes,
That's the
man.
most interesting thing about you, like,
He's lived 4 lives already.
So again, he didn't know that I was gonna be sitting down with you, and then because we did a show prior to this, and then I
Yep.
told him, and I was like, like the guy has lived many lives before this.
I love fascinating individuals. That's what my whole thing is that you could talk to anybody, you could talk to quarterbacks, you could talk to famous people, you could talk to whoever you really want to talk to. But I like talking to people that have stories, that have lived life. Like you could probably sit in that same locker room as an 18-year-old kid whose eyes are this big, and you have explored the world, you have started companies, you have seen businesses, you've been to Bali, you've worked in mines, you've lived with 13 offensive linemen in a 3-bedroom apartment. Like, I think you're so well versed in culture that it'd be a shame. It would be really a shame that South Florida, that local businesses haven't figured out something in terms of NIL deals to get you cracking and get you going. And according to you, donate that to charity, man.
Yes,
Just
sir, yeah.
make somebody's day, make somebody happy. That's
Yep.
incredible. I really am taken aback by sitting down with you and learning out a little bit more about you and not just seeing the tattooed guy kicking footballs. I think it's really important that the University of Miami fan, aside from what they read and what they see, I think that you are a fascinating story in your own, and I hope that. Hell, I hope they give you, super senior. And you might be able to play till you're 43, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Another 4 years. Another 4 years here at the University of Miami.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, I just want to ask you, like, what's your why, right? Like, majority of athletes and football players, we usually play the sport. It's usually bigger than us, right? Not many of us are just playing for our name to get a car and a house and this and that, whether it's, get my grandma out the hood, do this for my family, do this for my child, do this for my kid, for you to have lived, like we said, many lives before this, to go to a JUCO, San Francisco City College, and then come to the University of Miami, right? Enroll back in school. Like, what is your why? What is your drive? What is your motivation? What's the end destination? Are you doing it for yourself, or are there other people that you're doing it for?
Yeah, there's plenty of people I'm doing it for. I think, coming over here, first, family member of my family that, went to university, graduated. Now I'm about to graduate my master's, so that's huge for me. I think seeing how proud my mum and dad, grandma, brother, sister, and all my friends back home, they still can't believe that I'm over here. They can turn on ESPN back home and watch me kick a ball around. So that still fascinates them, and just doing it for them. I got a kid. I know a lot of people know I've got a kid in Philadelphia. So, you know.
I thought you had a Freudian slip. I thought you might have had another one in San Francisco too.
But
Couple of
Hey, we got to edit that up. He threw up 3 fingers.
I got Philly. So okay, we'll go back. We'll go back. Go ahead.
so yeah, obviously my son, you know, little Loki, he's a great reason why I get up every day. I know I'm trying to better his life. Hopefully, you know, when he's old enough, he'll be able to see what I did to kind of turn my life around. Hopefully, you know, that motivates him and puts him on the right path. And hopefully, with what I'm doing now, whatever's next, I can, you know, that'll help me be able to help him out with, you know, whatever he needs. But yeah, in a whole, I think just seeing everyone that's so proud of me back home and seeing how far I've come from, you know, not graduating high school, you know, working in the mines, living in Bali for a little bit. I'm like,
You're like a
JUCO
traveling
thing.
hippie, man. You're unbelievable. You're like a modern day hippie.
So just the journey that it's sort of taken to get here, I think, you know, looking back, it'd be crazy to think of, you know, to do anything else. So just thriving every day. You know, with the new coaching stuff and stuff now, you know, I love getting out of bed, getting there early and, you know, doing my thing. So super excited for the rest of the season.
That's amazing, man. And the fact that you named your son Loki, that's pretty cool. Is that because you're a fan of Scandinavian folklore, or what's the reason for the name Loki?
Loki, I actually wanted to call him Louis, but she wasn't a fan, so she called him Loki. So it's close enough. But
Another one loses.
Yeah. What are the chances? The women got their way, of course. Well, again, thank you once again for coming out here and hanging out with DJ and I and Out the Huddle and just learning a little bit more about you and your amazing travels throughout this world, man. And I wish you nothing but the best. And hell yeah, man, I love the fact of the Deadly Hedleys getting started and getting going.
That's what I want to say. So the Deadly Hedley, that's a gift from Dime Life. You can do whatever it is that you want to do with it. If we want to turn it in and, you know, start selling the shirts for charitable contributes, we can do that. NFL, I think it's a dope design. I think it matches, it flows. That's a gift from Dime Life, man. Just wanted to let you know that.
yeah, well, I appreciate that a lot.
Sorry, cut you off. And I remember, you know, they mentioned that you want to get some of your mates. See, look at me.
I like
getting,
you.
You like that?
You're getting cultured. You're getting
feel me?
cultured.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, it's contagious.
Let me hear you say, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he from the
Oh,
Bay.
man.
Yeah. See, he from the Bay. So, again, we just you know, doctor these up real quick
Yep.
as some samples. But of course, if you need any more, we'll go ahead, doctor some more. We can give them back to your friends, families, whoever you want.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think right now, the best, there's actually a charitable event that I'm running right now. And if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see it. It's called Mania. It's a South Florida company. And I think for every $1 that gets donated, you know, 10 meals goes to, you know, the South Miami community. So I think we're at like 6,500 now. And I think, you know, the goal is about 10. So it should work.
Oh, no, we'll donate 100% of the proceeds. 100% of profits will go to that. So
cool.
what I'll have to do is and people listen, it's going to be a pre-order, which means you ain't going to get it right away, right? Because they don't exist. I made 2 just for these guys here. All right, but now we're going to do some good, right? So we're going to go ahead and put it up on the site for a charitable reason.
Absolutely, man.
Pre-order.
That's it. I appreciate that.
And let's get this Hedley Heathen thing going too, bro. Like this can be monstrous. He's by far the most prolific looking individual I've ever seen kick a football. To be perfectly honest, kickers don't come around like this very often, Canes fans. And I think we need to totally embrace, support, do whatever we can for Mr. Hedley over here and getting him some charitable donational money. And on top of that, let's get this NIL thing going for him too, man. Let's get that thing cranking up. Figure out ways. Because that's what you do. That's what Dime Life does.
Hey, listen, I got a guy that got a guy.
We all
You know
got
what I'm saying?
guys.
We need to get that money. We're in Miami, right? I got a guy that got a guy.
That's another thing,
You
Lou.
know what I'm saying?
This city is I know somebody. This is the I know somebody city. So
We can turn that NIL, the bottles over here,
yeah.
Cadillacs. Like,
We'll get Loki whatever Loki needs, bro. Like Loki needs the yes, absolutely. So yeah, so thank you once again for coming on out. I don't want to be redundant, but it's been a real pleasure sitting with you and learning a little bit more about you and your past, your family. Thank you for opening up, obviously, about the whole family situation, and we look forward to seeing you on that field whooping ass and kicking a bunch of inside the 10 punts, no doubt. If we need them. Hopefully we don't.
Hopefully not too
you
many.
stay on the goddamn sideline, to be perfectly honest with you. But that's Out the Huddle, Dime Life sponsorship right here. Ladies and gentlemen, the most prolific gear you could possibly get. And my favorite one is this bucket right here, because I'm going to go ahead and leave with this one. DJ don't know yet, but I put a little stickum on the bottom of my fingers. DJ, Dime Life Williams, Out the Huddle, Lou Hedley, thank you once again. Go Canes.
Every year at Dime Life, we continue to try to take it to the next level. Fly merch, watch parties. Now we're getting into the content game. Slide over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.